Agency is warning that a full-scale humanitarian crisis is unfolding as thousands of refugees flee ongoing fighting in Ethiopia's Tigray region each day to seek safety in eastern Sudan. This is an influx unseen over the last 2 decades in this part of Sudan.
Andebrhan Giorgis is a former Eritrean ambassador and the author of Eritrea at a Crossroads. He joins us now from Brussels. Thanks very much indeed for being with us on the programme. So what is the danger of other countries being drawn into this conflict in Ethiopia?
I think it would be, first of all, thank you for having me. It'd be very dangerous to internationalize the conflict, externalize the conflict. I think it's a domestic Ethiopian conflict, a power struggle between the central government and the regional government of Tigray, and it should be contained as such, because regionalization or internationalization of the conflict could have very dire consequences on the security and stability of an already volatile region of the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea Basin.
And we're hearing that many people are crossing into Sudan. How will it affect that country?
Well, one of the tragic consequences of war is mass displacement of the civilian population. And unfortunately, a lot of people are being displaced by the fighting to the Sudan, where the refugee camps are already overcrowded with so many previous refugees in place. And I think the international community should really rise up to try to alleviate the suffering of the refugees, to provide for their immediate needs, and to provide for maybe some sort of stable temporary resettlement until the situation allows them to return home.
And we've only recently seen peace being declared between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Might this situation put that at risk?
Well, the peace declaration has not materialized on the ground, largely because of the internal conflict in Ethiopia. The regional state of Tigray had blocked actually the implementation of the peace agreement reached between Eritrea and Ethiopia. And I think the current fighting is a continuation of the fact that the central government does not exercise or has not been exercising full control over its entire territory, especially the northern part of what is today the regional state of Tigray.
So what do you think can be done to resolve this, if anything?
Well, in the first place, I believe the war was unnecessary. It could have been avoided with some element or some modicum of wisdom. But it is a continuation of the internal power struggle that has resulted in change in 2018. And it's actually the old dominant group that has been displaced from power in the central government that has taken refuge in the Tigray region and started, of course, continue to resist the reform program of the new government. And essentially, there's been a very intense struggle for power, the unwillingness of the former authorities to give up the old privileges, the attempts to make them accountable for what happened during 27 years of their rule. And so this conflict is essentially the culmination of a power struggle, as in the words of General Karl von Clausewitz, war is a continuation of politics by other means. So because they were unable to resolve their political problems through dialogue, they have resorted to war, which is unfortunate. And I don't think there is much that the international community can do at the moment, except alleviate the suffering of the civilian population, ensure that the civilian population does not get caught up in the crossfire, and that the international law of war and the Geneva Conventions are strictly respected. I think in that respect. But if the war prolongs and there is a huge humanitarian crisis, it would be inevitable for the international community to try to step in and pressure the parties to come to some sort of a peaceful accommodation.
Okay, thanks very much indeed for joining us on the programme, Andebrhan Giorgis.